Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Topping LA90, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Apos Audio for providing the Topping LA90 for review. Do greatly appreciate it, Apos Audio. You rock. Alright, so when Apos Audio reached out to me, I was like, would you like to review the Topping LA90? I was like, sure, but keep in mind, I'm just a pleb who has no experience when it comes to speakers or speaker amps. I really have very little experience. I'm very unseasoned, very inexperienced with them. And I honestly have no idea what I'm talking about. And I said, but I would love to hear it. I do want to expand my knowledge a little bit and my experience when it comes to speakers and speaker amps. And so Apos Audio gave me the opportunity to hear the LA90, and I thank you very much for it. And I do greatly appreciate your willingness to give a pleb like me a chance to be able to review the Topping LA90. Also, I want to thank Apos Audio for giving me the extended time that they did with the LA90, as it has been on my desk a lot longer than I initially intended. Okay, so the Topping LA90, this will cost your bank account about $900 on aposaudio.com. And I must say, this thing is built extremely well. The LA90 has an all metal case. It's got some heft to it. It's got some little feet on it, so it's not going to damage your desk or any other gear that you stack it with. And it's rather small shaped. It's not anything extremely huge, which is nice. A little bit bigger than my hand when it comes to size, and a little bit minimalistic looking. It's not anything glamorous and shiny and you know, extremely pretty to look at, but it is well built. This thing is sturdy. By far the best built topping I've ever held in my hands. Few specs. It has at 4 ohms 110 watts, at 8 ohms as 65 watts. The THD is 0.00007%. Has 140 dB of SNR. Has a 2-step gain setting, and it also has 3 XLR TRS inputs. All the other specs are way beyond anything that I would be able to explain, so I'm going to put up some links and put links down in the description for you to be able to go and take a gander at and see what all the Topping LA90 is about, as those people will be able to explain it a whole lot better than I ever will. So I do not want to torture you or torture myself. So anyways, Topping LA90. On the front, you have a selector power switch. You have this really nice, big, huge volume knob that you're able to just turn with ease. And then you have indicators for which input. On the back side, you have your inputs that are XLR TRS, and then you have your binding posts. And then you have right here, you have a firmware, which is done by USB-C, and then you have 3 selector switches, which we'll go over here in a moment, and then you have your power connection. Now your power connection, got this big, huge power brick and the proprietary connector. This thing's solid, takes up some space, so be prepared for that if you have limited space. All right, on the back side, you have these little switches, and on those there's a switch for mono or bypass, or excuse me, volume or bypass, and that's so you can use the volume knob on the LA90 or on your preamp. And then you have stereo or mono, so if you're going to have 2 of the LA90s, you can run them in as mono blocks. And then there's a low high gain switch. Very nicely laid out, and I found that it is just well built, sturdy, and doesn't take up a whole lot of room on the desk. Before we get into the sound, I do want to thank all of my YouTube members and patrons for all the support that you provide to the channel, and also just for your love and kindness and all that you bring to the channel as far as the abilities of just keeping me going each and every day to make more videos. I do greatly appreciate everything that you do for the channel, and if you are interested in becoming a member or a Patreon supporter, check out the links down below. Alright, so Topping LA90. I used my Headamp GSX Mini as the preamp with it, and I did try it on various DACs. DACs that I used were the Mytek Liberty DAC 2, the Aueze Deckard, and the Aune X1S GT. And I found that the LA90 is just a super clean, crisp, and energetic sound. And it is amazingly good with detail retrieval and resolution, and it's insanely transparent and revealing. Topping has done a very good job at putting a package together that provides power but yet stays controlled, and it has a presentation that is like none other that I have heard when it comes to amplifiers for speakers. Speaking of speakers, I used Sony SSCS5s, Wharfedale D310s, and the Martin Logan Motion 15s. And I find that it has insanely good dynamic range and very well controlled. If it's peaks and valleys and ups and downs and everything in between is just incredibly well controlled, and you can just read into the music and you can just hear the details, you can hear the finite information, and everything just is out in the open. It does an extremely good job of being controlled but yet revealing. Bass has really nice impact and slam and punch. Mids are very even and cohesive, but yet at the same time have a good presentation of revealing how the stage is set, if it's farther out, farther in, to each side. And then the treble is sparkly and energetic and clear, but yet at the same time not piercing and not fatiguing. It's not too bright, not too hot. It is very well controlled. Soundstage does a really good job with width, and imaging is just everything just moves, and placement is just incredibly good, very precise and accurate and true. I find that the LA90 is very good when it comes to technicalities. The only quibble about the LA90 for me is that it lacks a little bit of naturalism. It just lacks just that little bit of emotional connection. And it didn't matter which DAC I put on it, whether it was a warmer DAC like the Aune X1S GT, or something along the lines like an Aueze Deckard, or even the Mytek Liberty DAC, which is a very natural and neutral sounding DAC. All three of them, you could hear the differences in the DACs, but they still just didn't quite connect. You didn't get that emotional connection, that little bit of naturalism that just kind of brings in everything about the music. There was a little bit of a lack of note weight and body, and just a little bit of just unattachedness. I did connect a subwoofer to the LA90, and I found that the LA90 does sound better when a subwoofer is connected, no matter what the speaker is. It adds in a little bit of body, adds in a little bit more girth to the overall presentation, and I found that the emotion comes up just a little bit, but it still just lacks a little bit. I compared it to the Schiit Audio VIdar, which is down here on my desk, and the VIdar is all that the LA90 is, maybe not quite as detailed, not quite as resolving. still, they're really close in that regard. But the thing that the VIdar does is it brings in the emotion. It brings in that connection and adds in that little bit of warmth and note weight and just body and just overall presentation that engages you. And the LA90 is the technical prowess is just crazy good. This thing is amazing when it comes to technicalities, but it misses slightly on the emotion and naturalism. I want to thank Apos Audio again for giving me the opportunity to review the Topping LA90, because having this and the VIdar on my desk at the same time was ear opening and just brain busting crazy. And doing the comparison side by side, I love both of them. I love each one of them and what they bring. And if I didn't already own the VIdar, I would own this. It's that good. I truly love the Topping LA90. If you're looking for a speaker amplifier that can power anything, and you can use it in all kinds of other ways, like mono blocks and all that kind of stuff, then get the Topping LA90. It will give you all of that technical prowess, that technical information that you're seeking, while still giving you a presentation that is connected, balanced, and cohesive, accurate, and true. But I'm going to stick with the VIdar. And that's because it gives me one other element, and that's that naturalism. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Also, check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information there regarding music recommendations, gear recommendations, and how you can connect with the channel, follow the channel, support the channel. All that kind of stuff is down below. And don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.